I'm Guy. That's John. This is our YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the podcast, also below in the description.
And don't forget about subscribing to the channel. We appreciate it if you like this video.
Do it.
So we talked a lot about what went wrong with the 49ers against the Cardinals, John. I don't know if you've checked the standings yet, but they're the only team without a win in the division. 1 week. But here's the good news. The schedule is the good news. They go to the Jets. They go to the Giants. You remember when the schedule came out? We're like, I don't know. Do you want that road trip that early? Yes. Yes, you do. In fact, you could not pick a better time for this 49ers road trip.
I think the Niners are so lucky, Guy, because when you look at their schedule, the Bills, obviously their division.
Oh, imagine if the Bills game was this week.
The Cowboys, even a team like, let's just say they played the Eagles or something this week, which we don't even know is going to be good. Or hell, I'd even say the Redskins. Like, the Redskins clearly are putting up a fight. They got, given their injuries, I mean, Debo's on IR. Ayuk.
Kyle said he'd be surprised if Ayuk doesn't play.
Doesn't play.
So he thinks
but
he'll play.
He is coming off an injury. Kittle, we know, has a sprained knee, and I think is going to be at best limited throughout practice. Even though we kind of knew that, but maybe we did. I mean, he played the second half. They got. What if they played Seattle this week, Guy?
Or the Rams, John? Would you want to play? I don't think you
No.
want to play divisional opponent right now.
They would lose. I mean, they might not lose, but they would be an underdog. They would not be a 7. Think about this. They are in shambles injury wise, and they coming off a loss to a team that's clearly pretty talented. But
would you want to play at Dallas right now?
If you had to do a draft of you just need a win, you just need to get your fucking some confidence. What would be the number one team you'd pick in the NFL, right? Because it wouldn't be the Jags.
No. My thought was if the Jags want Trevor Lawrence, they're in trouble because the Jets are clearly worse than them.
I'd even say watching the Giants on Monday Night Football, right? They clearly play way harder.
The second I used to go like Danny Dimes, he makes a couple plays. You go, okay, he at least has some players around him that can beat you. Right?
Say this. After watching Danny Dimes and Sam Darnold, who's just a better player right now?
Well, I mean,
Danny Dimes not terrible.
I
kind of like Danny Dimes. I'm not gonna lie.
I've got some issues with Darnold right now, and I know so much is being made, and rightly so, about his offensive line and the skill help that he has, and his coach who might not make it through the season, and all that's legit.
And his running backs.
Yeah, where you are, what team you're on, all that stuff matters so much. But I just watch him and I go, he's not athletically that mobile enough to he's athletic, but not run away from NFL defensive ends athletic. His arm is not a plus arm. Do you agree with that as a scout?
Yes, it's not. It's not.
So man, is
there a chance he might not be good?
I'm not seeing it right now. I'm not.
Well, think about this.
You watch Drew Lock. Now Drew Lock's team is better, but Drew just makes some plays. Like, okay.
Oh, well, think about this, Guy. Jameis Winston ended up being forced into a backup role. And I don't think it's really arguable. Like, I watched Jameis Winston a decent amount at Tampa Bay over his career. He always looked better than Sam Darnold looks, right? And he had major flaws. He threw picks, but
yeah, he had better talent around him too. I mean, that's the one thing with Sam is that's why this is the perfect game, because he's not playing well and his team is terrible.
Well, Guy, their team stinks. I mean, stinks. Bell got hurt. Frank Gore, God love him. He's 38 years old. Who's their best wide receiver? Crowder had the one play where he took to the house.
Yeah.
But they do not have anything. I think they'll struggle to score 10 points. And really, they did against the Jets. Josh Allen, just as they were driving to basically end the game in the first half, being 28-0, fumbles the ball, leads to a field goal. Then they get a later touchdown to make it 10 to, the game was, an absolute bloodbath, right? In the first half, the Bills kicked their ass, just toying with it.
It felt like it was going to be, actually, it looked exactly what sometimes Niners games look like.
Yeah, the Bills dominant. The Bills were on a completely different level. Now, here would be my pushback on, we just already bet on the Niners. Josh Allen, just in that game, relative to what Jimmy Garoppolo, he was just playing at a much higher level, right? In much more control. He was really accurate. His legs, he is a potent runner. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, in the analytic community, have just compared him. He's closer to Cam Newton than people think. And I was like, Then you watch him, God, he is not slow. And then he can do these throws across his body, just throw these darts. So it's like, well, are they just going to be a little more potent? It's crazy to say this. Are they a little more potent right now on offense than the Niners?
Yeah. Well, and Diggs. How about who's the guy wearing Jamal Adams' jersey who hit Diggs like he was Jamal Adams? I don't know
No,
who
he
that
ain't
was.
Jamal Adams.
But he ain't Jamal Adams
Right.
because Diggs had almost 8 for 86. Yeah, look, they've got Diggs and Josh Allen's a freak show, but I think the Niners will be able to run the ball on the Jets, and I think they'll throw the ball better. Like I think Jimmy will be better this week, and I keep going back to I've seen a lot of. I shouldn't say it this way. I've seen a lot of criticism. I think the Niners defense was good. I think Kyler is.
Well, Guy,
like
they gave up 17 points. The one touchdown people forget came off a blocked punt at like the 15-yard line.
And the
Remember?
other drive extended by 2 penalties. Yeah, even Kyle Shanahan was asked, like, what do you do? How do you solve it? He's like, well, sometimes you get it's hard. It's freaking hard, Kyler. So
Isn't Kyler a little like an NBA player? Like, how do you slow down James Harden when he's hot? I don't know. I put up my hand. I hope he misses.
He's like Allen Iverson.
Yeah. I mean, you hope he misses.
He's actually better at protecting his body than Allen Iverson.
Way better. He's good.
Okay, so the Jets would be number 1 in your who do you want to play draft. Who would be number 2?
Well, really quick, back to the loss so I've been thinking a lot about this. It's not a terrible loss in the sense that you lost to talent, right? You lost to a really talented quarterback. You should win that game, and the Niners were in position to win the game, and they didn't execute it. But it's not like Sam Darnold just beat you. Like, if they were to lose this weekend, there's no way around it. It would be a fucking disaster. It would be the number 1 story in the league. Like, the Niners are not going to make the playoffs. Because you could easily say with a straight face, you lost to the Jets, you're not making the playoffs. I can't take you seriously. Like, that'd be a fair statement, right? I don't give a fuck how it looks, what happens. You just can't lose to this. To me, this is the number 1 pick. I think by a country mile. I don't even know if there's a team in the conversation because, like I said, the Dolphins, just look at the Dolphins roster. Like, they got players, and Fitzpatrick has won games. And they got a coach that clearly they like. The Jags literally just won a game where their quarterback went 19 of 20. Like, who? The Texans, just because they're 0-1. I mean, they got Deshaun Watson. You wouldn't pick.
I mean,
like,
who
would you pick?
Giants. I wouldn't pick the Browns.
Yeah, but Saquon Barkley is dramatically better than anyone on the Jets.
Well, yeah. You asked me who the second pick, not who the first pick would be.
But my point is, I don't even think there's someone. I think the Jets are so far away. Like, our discussion is just like the Browns, the Jag, whoever. But you would feel much less confident picking one of those teams. Like, but we picked the Browns, and the Niners did beat the shit out of the Browns last year. But like, they do have a lot of talent. Just maybe just clicks that game. You wouldn't pick the Jags, right?
John, I went back.
The
and
Jets
watched
are the worst team in the league.
I went back and watched a bunch of Jags highlights because this guy Trevor Sikkema did this breakdown on Laviska Shenault, and if you looked at the box score, he had 4 catches, like 37 or 39 yards, a touchdown. But Jay Gruden had him in the backfield several times. He took a carry. He just got a handoff for 5 yards. He had him as a decoy on coming out of the backfield where they faked the throw to him in the flat and then threw a bullet touchdown to the end zone. They had him
like one of those fake passes to get a guy open and then throw it across,
and then open up the seam just a little bit to throw a slant. So
I love that type of play. Jay Gruden is Jay Gruden just pretty good offensive
coach, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah.